Hello, Virtuoso family. One of the most uplifting characters in our global family, David Lowy from Vancouver, shared something with me yesterday I thought I'd start with today to help add some small perspective during these times. Now, some of you may have already seen or read this, but I thought it was worth sharing as we live through this massive shared experience, right? Now, think about it. If you had been born in 1900, on your 14th birthday, World War I starts and doesn't end until you're 18. Later that same year, the Spanish flu, which by the way actually started in Kansas in the US, hits the planet and runs until your 20th birthday. On your 29th birthday, the Great Depression begins and runs until you're 33. When you turn 39, guess what? World War II begins, lasting until your 45th birthday. At 50, the Korean War starts. At 55, the Vietnam War starts. Your 62nd birthday sees the Cuban Missile Crisis, when life on our planet could have ended. And at 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. And by the way, that's not even all of the major events happening around the globe during that lifespan. Wow, right? Well, I remember at the start of this global pandemic saying to myself and friends, I wonder if this is how my father felt in 1941. Not because it's a war per se, but because it made me think about those before us who had to get up every day and carry on during times of uncertainty. Well, obviously, it's our turn to deal with uncertainty. And I continue to be inspired by the spirit and resilience of our industry. Still incredibly sad about those most affected, but also hopeful because of so many signs that consumers want to travel. While they may do so in stages, the desire is there and palpable. As with all these factors in play, keeping a connection with clients is so important. And it's also a great time to ask your best clients for referrals. Please don't be shy. They want you to survive and to thrive. So on that note, I'm excited to report that next week, just a little over 30 days after our soft launch, we're adding new features and content to Wunderlist as promised. It's designed to give advisors and clients more options and ways to engage, and to build a more constant and dynamic interaction between them using and leveraging digital technology. With this update, Wunderlist will now feature all of Virtuoso's over 1,400 best of the best hotel properties around the world. We know that many of our amazing properties are as famous as their destinations, and clients can now add them to their Wunderlist. That was a joke. To their Wunderlist. We've also launched the first phase of integrating all of our cruise partners into Wunderlist. We're excited to add this inspirational content on cruise, first associated by country and later in other ways, to bring to life the real cruising we all know and love. Again, play with Wunderlist. If you lost the link to the download, we've included it here, and it's also on the virtuoso.com homepage. As I shared before, we created Wunderlist with new technology so that we can provide releases quickly, right, and often. So don't think you already know Wunderlist because you visited it once. It continues to evolve and expand through your feedback and user data. Now, speaking of data, as the world opens up in bubbles and air bridges and all new terms we're adding to our vocabulary, keeping up with country-specific information is a challenge. Gloria Guevara, WTTC CEO, shared the website travelbans.org with me. Now, we've added the link here as well as in the crisis kit. It's the best fully global aggregation that we've seen so far. So check it out. And if you find something better, please let us know. We've also rolled out a new social media marketing campaign called Always a Traveler, which encourages clients to call their advisors no matter what stage of travel they're in right now, planning, going, or just dreaming. Yesterday, on July 1st, the EU opened its borders to a list of specific countries. Unfortunately, no US travelers yet. However, in Australia, the much-needed reopening of Queensland was announced. In Canada, the 6-phase reopening plan is progressing from ultra-local to intra and some inter-province travel. And China domestic travel has occupancy levels at 50% and in some cases much higher. Now, more specifically for Australians, amongst the strongest per capita travelers and cruisers in the world, the easing of restrictions is headline news delivered by the Prime Minister himself. The Down Under Virtuoso team, in collaboration with other Virtuoso divisions, have worked with our members to refine their digital consumer database, announced a new partnership with Tourism Australia for domestic travel, and are broadening our in-bubble domestic partnerships, as well as working on a domestic Virtuoso Travel Week tour. Now, this morning, I joined our first virtual event for the EMEA region, also with a focus of close-to-home travel, and it was wonderful to see the engagement in a format that has received such great satisfaction scores. I love seeing all those smiling faces too. Not to mention getting to welcome 5 new Virtuoso members in the EMEA region. Yes, new members, even in this environment. We held and I attended our regional member advisory calls for Canada, the US, EMEA, and Latin America and Caribbean. On the Latin America Caribbean call, it was wonderful to hear about our Brazilian members banding together to do some shared social media marketing, exactly the spirit of collaboration that is our foundation. In the US, unfortunately, we are experiencing a resurgence in infections with some regional reclosings and introduction of more stringent protocols. But there are still some destinations and categories of travel in the US that are already or nearly sold out, specifically in places with open spaces and nature. Now, we ask US members and advisors to help ASTA with a grassroots campaign to help ensure another round of coronavirus relief. There is, thank goodness, a realization in Congress and the administration of the need for further relief, especially for industries hardest hit like ours. We need US advisors to help ensure passage. So ASTA is asking that you reach out now to your members of Congress. And to help you do that, we've included a link to the campaign and how to do that. But of course, no matter where we are in the world, we don't just rely on relief, but also on how we can reinvent ourselves. So whether you charge fees today or not, I believe it's something you should continue to stay current on. Why? Because really it's about continuously sharing and sharpening your consumer value proposition. On Helen Lawlon's upcoming webinar, she will cover echoing the client, fears that might get in your way, and how to dispel them, plus some fee models you might want to consider or adopt. Now, next week, we will be opening up registration for the virtual edition of what would normally be our journey to Bellagio, Vdara, and Aria for Virtuoso Travel Week, where we both energize and exhaust ourselves at the same time. This morning, I received an email from Kate McLean of Mary Rossi Travel in Sydney. And rather than me talking about the power of human connection, I thought I'd end with her message as this week's inspiration. She says, I'm not usually one for big groups and massive conventions, but I'm totally hooked on Virtuoso. My second travel week was so much bigger than my first. She had a little bit of a gap there, but way more fun because I knew what to expect. During this Corona time, I'm so incredibly grateful to have made the connections I've made in the past. People I've sat with at supplier dinners, people who know people I know as we pass by in those busy, lively corridors of the Bellagio, people who look a little bit lost that you chat and laugh with as you try to figure out where they should be. And now we have the chance to catch up with these same partners from their living rooms or home office. The Virtuoso voyeur in me loves being inside people's homes, especially when their partner or kids accidentally join in. This is how we get to see that our jobs in travel are so much more than our jobs. This shared passion for continuing to learn and to share and support communities globally is why I love coming to work every day. So thank you, Kate. What a beautiful way to express the value of our connections and your excitement for not letting that diminish during Corona time. We look forward to having you at our virtual event. And you asked me to show Australia, Kate. So here's the globe. I put it on Australia. And by the way, I actually have had this book right here that says Australia all along. So thank you to all my friends down under. Now, each week I gather material for this video. And on Monday mornings, I always wonder if I'm going to have enough to share. And by Thursday at 4 a.m., when I gather my thoughts, I'm always amazed. especially when just the right inspiration drops in my lap, like Kate's email this morning. I, as well as our team, remain deeply grateful to serve you all around the globe. Thank you for the powerful purpose you continue to give us. Until next week.